So I got to watch The Accountant 2 very recently on home video. It was a very good movie, 7.8 out of 10, and I feel like it totally reinvented itself this time around, and let me tell you how. I feel like it all comes down to writing. When you look at the first movie, our main character, Christian Wolf, was remarkable due to his skill with numbers and his laser focus in different situations. And that was about all we got as far as him as a character. We had the trauma and the difficulties of his condition as well as the upside of his condition. But him as a person, we didn't get too much. This time around, we got the question answered as to who is this person outside of the insane laser focus when it comes to numbers? How does this person interact with life outside of being really good in hand-to-hand combat or really focused in a gunfight? So you take that change in your main character, then you add Baxter Wolf, who is John Bernthal's character, and we got a decent amount of him in the first movie, but really and truly, he was a wild card. We could have made, or the writers could have made that character do whatever they wanted him to do in this second film. So you add the change of the focus on Christian Wolf, Ben Affleck's character, and then you add in a Baxter Wolf, John Bernthal's character, and you end up with a movie that is far more comedic and way more of a good time than it's supposed to be. Without spoiling the movie, this movie deals with a lot of heavy issues. It deals with sex trafficking, it deals with illegal immigration, and it does that without being too heavy-handed. I think it's great the way they did it with all those subjects because it never gets political, it never gets preachy. It takes those topics and it paints it in pure black and white, good versus evil, even though the people who are carrying out the justice in these situations are not necessarily the clearest black and white figures themselves. They actually added in another character in this that is morally gray when it comes to the law. And I really like the way they wrote the story around that character, and I like where that character ended as opposed to giving us the generic happy ending that some people might expect. The Accountant 2 has all the makings of any good summer blockbuster. It has great action sequences, it has great fight choreography, it has big shootouts and explosions. You got character growth from your main character. You got relationship dynamics being explored from multiple characters in the movie, whether it was a sibling relationship or a dating style relationship. And you even get a little bit of world building in this movie from your main characters and cast that you were associated with in the first one. So if it has all those good qualities, why didn't it make more at the box office? I actually feel like that's a very simple question to answer, and it's competition. Ryan Coogler's Sinners was well-deservedly the #1 film in the box office for 3 straight weeks. It was the only movie that people talked about online, and I think The Accountant 2 suffered due to that. It just wasn't getting any kind of word of mouth. If Sinners didn't go on its historic run that it went on in the months of March and April, I would gamble that The Accountant 2 would have benefited from that. Another competition element that comes up when we talk about The Accountant 2 is also the re-release of the Star Wars prequels. I really didn't expect to see the buzz that I did see when it came to those movies being re-released in theaters. Most of those movies are over 20 years old, and I have people who are my age, in their 40s, dressing up with their kids and making it a family outing to go see movies that they've seen multiple times because these are real deal Star Wars fans. And so with that, I think that's another kind of movie phenomenon that everybody was buzzing about for at least a weekend or two, where if those things weren't happening with Sinners and that thing wasn't happening with the Star Wars re-releases, I think that The Accountant 2 would have got some of that positive word of mouth. But what do you think? What was the thing that kept Accountant 2 from making more at the box office? And how did you feel about The Accountant 2 if you saw it? Let me know your thoughts about all that in the comment section if you choose to do so. And that's all we got for this one, y'all. Enjoy yourself, guard your heart, and go watch something good.